in person and virtual. So that's great. Thank you. And then we are going to have a Q&A. We'll have a resource link for you, and then we'll wrap it up. So, okay, so first up is Kayce. She is with the she's a 4-H youth program associate. She's in St. Francis County, which is the Farmington area, right? Kayce, yes. And she's going to talk about, you know, 4-H is known for their overnight camps, but they also do day camps. But she's also done a lot of virtual camps in the last year. So she's going to share with you some resources and just about her programming. And of course, you know, it's 4-H, and but they serve the same age kids. They serve the same kids we do. And so a lot of what they have applies to what you guys are doing in your after school day camp programs. So Kayce, take it away.
All righty. So I just have some like tips and tricks for doing stuff virtually. We have Zoomed a lot the last year, and I'm not going to say that we've perfected it, but we are getting much better at it for sure. I have taught technology to kids before I came back to Extension, so I'm pretty comfortable with kids and technology, so that has helped me a lot. But I think the first thing to remember is that kids aren't scared. They're going to push buttons, and they're going to be way more engaged than you think they will. As adults, it's hard for us to sit through Zooms and be engaged, but I have found that kids enjoy it. If you're willing to have fun and play games and stuff like that, they're going to join in. So don't be scared to do it. I know that we're all like getting out of the pandemic thing, but I have found, like side note, is that I can reach kids that I never would have met before working virtually. And even when this is all over and we can meet in as big a groups as we want and don't have to wear masks and all of that, I'm going to continue to work with kids virtually because I get to see kids that I'd never have an opportunity to meet otherwise. So don't be scared. So some of the things that we learned, one of them is to keep it short and keep it simple. Don't try to do anything too complicated. If you're doing arts and crafts, like that tend to be a really hard one for us, and 4-H is like known for arts and crafts. But to make sure that all the materials are something that they probably have on hand, and try to keep the mess to a minimum because you don't know where they might be working on their projects at home. Make it something that they can get done in a short amount of time. You don't want to have something that has, you know, multiple steps and drying time in between because you're just not going to keep their attention to get all that done. So keep it simple. Another thing that we found was really important, that if you have information that you want to send to the kids to have, like a PDF or any of that kind of like information handouts basically for your sessions, don't expect them to have it printed so that they can see it. Have an alternative way to share the information. I use Google Slides when I do stuff. It keeps me on track. I'll show you a couple of examples of those, but don't expect them to have that printout and just assume that everybody has it because they may not have printers. I mean, I don't have a printer at home, so if, you know, my kid had to do it, I wouldn't be able to print it for him either. So another thing that we learned, challenges work really well. Okay, so I taught STEM and I love STEM challenges anyways, but giving kids a something hands-on that they can do, get up, move around. We recently did a tallest tower with cups challenge, which is so basic and it's so easy. But I'll tell you how we did it because it was really fun. I had the kids guess how tall they could make their tower, because I didn't require them to have a certain number of cups and I didn't have a certain size. So every tower was going to look a little bit different, be designed a little bit different, and their end result wouldn't be the same because the numbers of cups weren't the same. And so started off by like, everybody's got cups at home, or most people do. So that was easy. Then something that we thought of is that there's kids in cars traveling that are going to log on and see. There are kids that probably don't have, plastic cups or, available to stack with. So we had one of the staff members build a tower, and they got to guess how tall she could make her tower, and then they watched her build hers. So it was kind of an alternative for the kids that couldn't actually participate, which is always a good idea for these things. Anyways, it just gave the kids something hands-on, active, cups flying everywhere, and kids like that. So STEM challenges work really well. I've done several of them and haven't had any trouble with them. Getting the kids up and moving, I found scavenger hunts are fun. That's one of the things that you want to give the parents a heads up to in your email before the camp or whatever activity you're doing. Let them know that their kids are going to be running around the house looking for stuff. And safety first, of course. I always tell them to like hurry, walk, don't run in the house, but you know how that works. I ask a lot of questions, and I usually work with another YP from another county, and I have them remember to ask questions or to help me remember to ask kids questions. So I ramble a little bit. You might notice I like to talk. And so if I have somebody working with me, just to be like, okay, so what does everybody think about this? Or how did that work for you? And watch for questions and those kinds of things. Let's see, I just have little Post-it notes everywhere here. Online games are fun. And there's a few that I've used that I'll share with you that worked really well for me. I'm going to share my screen. So the first one is bingo. Kids love bingo. It's never going to go out of style. And I'll send you guys a link to this website. It's free. And I think it's free up to 50 cards. So when we did our big camp, I went ahead and paid for it, so I'd make sure that we had enough. But this is an example of the one we did for officer training, because we did that virtually. But you just put in the words that you want on your bingo card. Then you want 30 cards for free. So all they do is you put this link in the chat box, they click on it, and it pulls up a tab that has a bingo card on it, and all the bingo cards are different. So when I did this, so this is, see if I can get a different, I can't see the top of my screen. Okay, so here's the bingo that we did for officer training. And I just asked the question, and then the answer was on the bingo card. So if they couldn't pull up the bingo card, they could still guess the question. So it was kind of having an alternative for kids that, either didn't, if they were on their phone and couldn't pull up the link or something like that. So they could still just listen and play along with the game. So just went on, and every bingo card's different. The kids just answered the questions and played the game, and they really enjoy that. It's so simple, but pretty effective. Another game that we played was Kahoot, and most kids, can you see the Kahoot screen? Yeah. I'm going to make sure that you.
We could, Kayce.
Oh, you could. Okay. I see what it is. All right. So here's the Kahoot screen, and kids are used to that. They play it at school all the time, but they're not tired of it. So don't be scared to do that. I just put 4-H questions on there and some really silly questions. They love it. So it's really simple and easy, and I just made it like 4-H-y as I could. it takes up some time, and it's something that they don't have to, they can do it in the car. It works on a phone. It works just about any way I think that make Kahoot work. So that's a fun one. Then I guess the most important thing that I would say for a tip is to practice. When I have like a group that I work with when we do these things, and we create a Zoom or two ahead of time that's just us, and make sure all the links work, make sure that everything we want them to see, they can see it on the other side, that the sound works on videos, that, you know, that everything's going to work. Just do a couple of practice runs. Don't just assume that because it works on your computer that it's going to work in your program. So I think that's the end of my list.
Thanks, Kayce. So thanks for sharing how to do programming virtually, since we do have programs that are planning virtual camps still, or a hybrid, because we don't know how the summer is going to look yet. Everybody's still everywhere. And I got to firsthand see Kayce do some online engagement activities a few weeks ago, where they did an Energizer with their kids in their region. And it was really impressive to see how you kept the kids engaged, even though we were all like this on the screen, and how much fun they were having, and how they were bringing their whole families. Anybody who was in the house was getting involved. It wasn't just the kids, siblings. And it was also kind of fun to see the interactions with the siblings behind the scenes, you know, fighting with swords, something like that. But it was good. So I really appreciate your tips. Kayce, let me share my screen again, because I have Kayce's information. I think a screen too, yeah. Okay, so I think you're seeing that screen. So if you would like more information on how to do virtual programming, tips or tricks, Kayce has become an expert of it. And so you can email her and get more information. So thank you, Kayce. I appreciate it. Love your green and love your Willie shirt underneath your.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so next is Amy Gaffney. She's with the University of Missouri Adventure Club, which is housed out of the College of Education. They have been doing summer programming, I mean, forever, I think. And she's got all different types of programs, full days, wraparound summer school. So I'm going to hand the mic over to her and let her share about her programming. And if you have questions, you can put them in the chat box as we go along. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. As Ann mentioned, we are actually a part of the University of Missouri. We're an outreach program within the College of Education. We do partner with Columbia Public Schools, so we're present in all 21 of their elementary school buildings, but we are not actually part of the district. So we're a little different than a lot of your programs, I think, in that regard. We do a variety of summer programming. So when school first lets out for the school year, and Columbia Public has their summer school, it is still it's the same hours as it is during the school year. And we offer before and after school care just like we do during the school year. Then in the period after that, between summer school letting out and the next school year beginning, we typically would also have an enrichment program, which is called that because it piggybacks on the CPS enrichment opportunity. They have a program they offer from, I don't remember what time it starts, but until noon each day for a period of, I think, usually 3 weeks. And we then offer care from 12 to 6. And then concurrently, we also have, and beyond, we have full days of programming that families can also sign up for, where we are open all day, every day. In both of those programs, whether it's 6 hours or 9 hours that a kid is there, that staff are there, it's a long day. So we break it up with, usually break it up with field trips, usually swimming a couple times a week, maybe another field trip here and there, certainly guest speakers and special projects. We have long-term projects, and I'll get into our curriculum a little bit too. But those are kind of the offerings that we typically have. This year, I hear that CPS will not be doing their enrichment program, so we will not be doing that one either. But those are what we would normally do. We usually start planning probably about February or maybe even a little earlier. We've already gotten the ball rolling. In fact, we started enrollment for summer not too long ago. So, but we're big planners in this program. One of the things COVID has taught us is to be patient and not to always be the first done with everything. We learned that sometimes you have to wait and see how things are going to go and then spring into action. But we are typically a group of planners, and we start early. So it would not be surprising to hear us talking about things before February either. One couple of the big things that you have to decide is when, because we also coordinate with CPS during that time of year, and we need to know when we can have access to their buildings and which buildings. So where will we have it? What weeks will we have it? So we kind of start there. From there, we figure out advertising and rates and when will we begin enrollment, and getting that information out to our current families and other families in the community. And then from there, we start working on who's going to work the programs. We have site leaders at the 21 sites. We have site leaders who are full-time, degree benefited salaried staff. And at some of them, we have two, usually college students, often in the field of human services or education, who share a site and share those responsibilities and work part-time. So we start with our full-time staff who are likely to be with us. We ask them who's interested in working, the June period of time when we're in before and after mode with summer school, who wants to work on full days, when are you planning your time off and things like that. So we get their feedback, and then we kind of fill in also because typically, especially during June, instead of 21 sites, we might only have 15, 16, 17, depending on where they're doing construction. So we may not have need for in all the buildings. So we start with our full-time staff, and then we kind of fill in around that with the part-time staff who are interested, and then staff it with the site assistants as well. And then while we're thinking on that, we're also doing our summer curriculum planning. Some of the things we've done in the past include one of the things we really like at Adventure Club is our clubs, which are basically thematic units that a committee creates and maintains, and then site facilitators can reserve them and check them out from Monday to Friday. And they check them back in Friday and tell us what needs to be restocked and give any feedback on the club. So that's something we do all year long, but in the summer, we have been known to make multiple versions of a club or 5 clubs, and then have them on a rotation so that everybody has, if summer school is 4 weeks, then they get a rotation with 4 clubs in it. Another thing we have done is baskets of supplies for certain activities, and we have the activities all lined out in a binder, and they can pick and choose which of those activities they want to use, but they also have the supplies right there to have them handy and they're ready to go. So those are some things. Typically we would do those in June, but during the full day programming, that enrichment programming, we also will plan ahead for some long-term projects, because those are nice to do when you can kind of leave your space set up all the time rather than packing things away in the cafeteria at the end of the day or at the end of the morning for the school day. You can leave things out longer, so you can grow things and you can keep large bulky projects out and things like that. So we take advantage of those opportunities as well. But a lot of what we do is just plain going to be, what are the kids into right now? One year it wasn't a planned activity. It was the year I was leading the full day programming actually. They just were really into finger weaving that year. So we just went with finger weaving. I mean, we had our other activities as well, but they were just going constantly with that craft. So, we encourage those side things as well. Another thing that a lot of the staff like to do is after lunch, you dim the lights, you do the quieter activities. So it might be a good time to sit down and do some quiet board games, or, you know, just play some music, do some chillax kind of things instead of the go, go, go. So it kind of breaks up the day a little bit. So those are some of the things we like to do. One of the reasons we do so much pre-planning on the curriculum for summer is that our full-time staff help us to get geared up for the next school year during that time. So during the school year, they have their before and after school site time, but they also have some hours dedicated to planning and preparation for their sites, and that completes their 40 hours. Well, during the summer, instead of doing their site planning and prep, we try to have those things done ahead of time so that they can help during the summer with things like reviewing the enrollment forms, making sure materials are ready for orientation in August, painting little wooden shapes that we use for our markers. Where are you in the building markers, so that they're ready to go. We try to do things collectively as a program that help everyone, so every single site leader doesn't have to reinvent the wheel every time. We pool our resources in that regard. So that's why a lot of our summer curriculum is just, here you go. So they don't have to worry about that during June, and certainly not during July when they're actually in site all day. So hopefully that explains that a little bit. I was just thinking back on summer, and some of the other things that they've been into besides finger weaving is just easy enough stuff to do pop-up activities with, and they don't really cost much. They were really into cardboard for a long time too. They'll make cardboard cities and cardboard dollhouses and cardboard arcades, and they get so creative. It's just really wonderful to see. So, you know, just giving them the resources they need to let them follow that pursuit. That was easy enough, you know, just collect boxes. We've all got them sitting around as we finish snacks and things like that. And so they just did it. They ran with it. As far as COVID, I imagine we were not able to have programming last summer. I imagine this summer it will be a lot like the school year with stable groups, field trips. We'll have to see about. We might do some maybe walking field trips and things like that, but I'm not sure that we've got all that ironed out just yet. As I said, we kind of wait to see what is happening in the near future before we, you know, kind of get too far ahead of ourselves on that. But we have been doing stable groups and the pickup and drop off at the curbs with the screening, rather than letting families bring their kids into the building themselves. And we have not done any field trips of any sort except walking field trips this year. So summer seems so long away, previous summers, but that's what I recall. And if anybody has questions later, I'm happy to answer them.
Amy, I do have a question, because you said you guys you are planning to do a summer program this summer, but you didn't last summer. Have you guys, do you guys have plans to do swimming this summer? Or is that
I'm not sure how much of that is ironed out because of the seating on buses.
Yeah.
They did just loosen things up a little bit in Boone County, and we got word from the university, because we have that oversight as well. So even if Boone County says you can have 200 people in a gathering, if the university is still sticking with 50, we still stick with 50. So they did loosen that up a little bit and go with a larger mass gathering cap. So we'll see on that. I don't think there are any planned right now, but that is relatively new news as well.
So it's really almost a struggle right now for you guys to plan for summer with so many moving targets, like, because you can't plan for the swimming or the field trips right now.
The good thing is we do have lots of other resources, so we can still have water days and fun in the sun, and, you know, all sorts of other things going on. It may just look a little different. So we have plenty we can do. It may just be a little irregular from what we normally would do during the summer.
Okay. Yeah, it's it's like you said, it seems so far away, but it's coming, and there's a lot of things you need to do. So, and if I cannot see the chat box right now, but please, if you have questions, put them in the chat box and we will get to them here after everyone has had a chance to share about their summer programming. Thank you, Amy. I know Amy is actually currently overseeing a full day program today because I think Columbia Public School is out today. And so I'm surprised we don't hear kids in the background because I think you're in the same building as them right now. So, but
they're a little bit further away, but my walkie is going crazy right now.
So I appreciate you taking the time out of your full programming. So, thank you. Next we have Shawntelle. Is she Shawntelle Fisher? Oh, I see her. Thanks. She said she might be a little late because she is fitting us into her busy schedule. You know, us in youth development, we have to be flexible and we have to turn on a dime to go a different direction. So welcome, Shawntelle.
Thank you. Yeah, we have to turn on the dime.
Shawntelle is the executive director of the SoulFisher's Ministry out of St. Louis. And I have also had the pleasure of seeing her after school program or summer camp program. She runs an all-day program too. And we want to invite her to share how she manages hers and maybe how she's managing it this summer with we're still in the pandemic. So welcome.
Thank you. So yes, as Ann said, it's an honor to be here. So as she said, I am the CEO of the SoulFisher Ministries, also the founder. And so we partner with the Riverview Garden School District, which is one of the underserved districts here in St. Louis. And when I say underserved, that it means that our students don't necessarily have access to the resources that more affluent school districts do, and also that they're currently provisionally accredited, but not fully accredited. So so we're honored to partner with that district. We've been in the district for 7 years now. We're in year 4 of our 21st Century Grant, which includes summer programming. So we have 2 sites, Coke Elementary and Westview Middle, and then during the summer, those same students in grades K through 6 can sign up to participate in the summer program. And the summer program is actually what you see here in action. The one at the top, I think that's when they went to the Magic House last summer. At the bottom, that's Science Center, I think, and then the big picture was toward the end of the summer program. It may have even been the last day. I think it was the last day. So we had like this huge activity day planned, and they had trivia, and so the trivia was based on our lesson plans that we have to do as 21st century community learning groups. And so they had to be retaining this information because they had different teams. So the red team and the yellow team. And the team that retained most of the information from the enrichment activities knew most of the answers to the trivia questions, which meant at the end, they got to pie in the face the losing team. And so we did several rounds of that. So it was a really great partial finish to the last day of our program. So from the very beginning, we have always tried to make sure that the programming that we provide our students are really engaging. Because most of our students are really low-level learners. And so we have like 6th graders that are performing on the 1st grade level, 8th graders that are performing on the 2nd grade level. So that can be kind of a hit to their ego. And so we had to figure out how can we get them engaged in learning, because our program is not a homework help program. It's literally to fill in those gaps. So how can we convince an 8th grader why they should be interested in working on 2nd grade work? And one way that we found that to be instrumental is to let them try out some of the higher level work in the program. And when they see that they really cannot effectively do that, then they become more open to actually learning on the grade level that they're on. And these activities are also ways that we get them to embrace the idea of learning on the level that they're on. And the more focus that we can get them to be on the level that they're learning on, the quicker they improve. The quicker they gain more proficiency. And so now we have 6th graders that are performing on the 9th grade level, 8th graders that are, doing high level math and high level ELA work and things like that, working on research projects and things like that. And another way that we've also found to be instrumental in keeping our students engaged in this like active learning and, you know, building block learning, as we like to call it, is presenting opportunities for them to actually be engaged. So the start of their 7th grade year, they can become what we call junior leaders, and they learn like career skills. So they're actually like working in the program. They grade some of the younger kids' work so that they're still, you know, reinforcing those skills that they're learning. They help prepare meals, they clean up, they take out trash, and that's mainly during the summer. And during the summer, each week they get a stipend. And then the second year of that program, they get a slightly larger stipend, which introduces them to the idea of merit increases. So if you do a great job at your job, then the idea is that you will be rewarded via a pay increase. And so we found that was a great way to keep our youth engaged. So now we have participants who have graduated from that program. They were our first graduates. They're now juniors in high school, and they've actually been employed with our organization for 3 years now. All in AP classes, all excelling. I still check report cards. So that's the number one factor, is that if your grades drop, so does your job. And so they make sure that they keep their grades up so that they can keep making the money. And that's just a way that we found to really keep our youth engaged in this program that they benefited from. And it makes the other youth look up to them and want to ascribe to become, you know, what these older youth have become in the program. So that's a bit about the program, the summer program. I heard you all talking about like activities. So St. Louis is full of activities to do. So that's unique and that's great about St. Louis. And we just start really early because even though we have a lot, they still fill up quickly. And so last year when COVID hit, when Sam Page lifted the restrictions on summer programs, we were already ready. So when school ended, that school year, we prepared for summer program like it was going to start that next week like it normally does. And so when the restrictions were lifted, we were able to just kick into gear. We already had all of our weekly community outings set up. And of course, we wound up having to pay a little bit more money because we requested in order for us to come that they would like shut the facility down to any outsiders except the SoulFisher Ministries group. So when they bowled, we were the only group there. When skating, we were the only group there, things like that to make sure that we were keeping not only the kids, but our staff safe as well. And they were quite open to it. Like I said, it was a slightly, you know, higher cost, but it was worth it because we wanted to keep everybody safe. And I think they were probably excited to have business. So a lot of, you know, businesses had to shut down. So they were excited to bring us in and welcome us in. And then that last week, I know she was in the chat was asking about like safe outside activities. So the last day, like I said, the trivia was part of it. The second half of the day was all outside. And so safe activities outside we had food trucks brought in, and we got a bunch of bouncy houses. One was like a big baller, it was called, and it was a water one, and they had like this big ball, and of course students go across one at a time, and you had to try to run across all of these balls without falling off the side. And if you fell off the side, it gave the impression that you were falling in a bunch of water. We also had another big slide that was a water slide. So it was outside. We hooked the water hose up to the slide. Well, we didn't. They came and set it all up. And the kids were able to slide down and have fun sliding down the slide. Of course, it was one at a time. And throughout everything, as you see, they had their mask on. They complained, but if you want to participate, you have to keep the mask on. And so they wanted to participate. So they kept the mask on, dripping wet and all. And they had a great time throughout the whole summer. So our kids had an amazing summer last year. We're looking forward to doing the same thing again this year. So we're already pretty much set for this summer for our kids to show up and have an amazing summer as well, having fun, being around friends and learning. So that's my spiel.
Thanks, Shawntelle. So it sounds like you guys, like Adventure Club, Amy said, you guys start planning in January, February.
Yes.
Hard to think about summer in January.
Yes, but you have to.
Yeah. You're still like in the holiday, like fog mode, you know? So I do have a question. You provide transportation, right?
We do.
Okay. And
During the
so,
summer, we provide transportation to the summer program and home from the summer program. During the regular school year, we provide transportation home.
and then some of your partnerships, can you talk about that? Because I know when I've been to your program, I've seen like a lot of volunteers come in and partners. So just
So
touch base
we
on that.
partner with AmeriCorps. So we've had AmeriCorps NCCC, AmeriCorps State Volunteers, AmeriCorps Vistas. We've had all three programs in our organization. We also partner with the St. Louis Science Center, so they come in and do like project-based learning, like at our program. Then we also have a day that they shut the Science Center down for just our group. We have Bricks for Kids, which is an organization that introduces them to the basics of robotics. We have social workers that come in and work with them, and we use practicum students too within that. Our Rise Leadership Group that really focuses on SEL. This year, they're doing Girls on the Run. So we have volunteer coaches that came in last fall, and the 29th, we start the spring season of Girls on the Run, which is like a girls empowerment, health and wellness program. They've done Zumba. Last year they did karate. Like I said, our kids, they're high energy and we have to match it, and that's why they continue to show up, is they know we're going to match that energy. And the parents love to send their kids, especially during the summer, because by the time we get through with them, all they have to do is give them a quick meal and they're hitting the bed. They're worn out.
Well, that's what the parents want. They want the kids to be tired.
They love it. They're like, nope, get up. You got to get on that bus.
Yeah. And your program, is it 8 to 3 or 8 to 4?
During the summer is from, our program is from 7 to 3.
7 to 3. Okay. Yeah. And you provide lunch, or do the kids bring lunch?
Breakfast and lunch and a snack.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And can you maybe touch base on this summer? Are you just still under all these COVID restrictions, or are you
Well, our own organizational, so we do have our COVID plan in place, which is still the social distancing. I know a lot of the restrictions are being lifted, but we're still just mindful that it's still out there, and we're still trying to work to keep, our kids and staff safe. So we still are masking up, even as we transition back into the school, of course, lower numbers, so that, to accommodate for the social distancing, more cleaning, more frequent bathroom breaks. So normally we wouldn't, take as frequent bathroom breaks, but we've incorporated that into the program to make sure that, we're being clean and safe. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Shawntelle. If you have time, if you can stick it on, I know you're getting us into. So hopefully we'll have some questions at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yes, ma'am.
So next, we were trying to find summer programs from different aspects of, the state. So that was Shawntelle from our more urban area. And now we have Stephanie. Stephanie so from a rural area. And Stephanie, I think you're on the road today. So are you even?
Yeah. So
no. So hopefully. Oh, we're having trouble hearing you.
Yeah. Probably the AirPod.
Yeah, it's
it's the AirPod.
Yeah, Stephanie, you're coming in all what's the word of staticky.
okay.
There you go. Yeah. So where
Okay.
are you at today? You're not in Missouri, right?
No, I'm in California.
Oh.
Let's see. So I'm originally from the state of California, and then I moved to Missouri. So I came home to see some family because it's our spring break, and it's actually the first in the almost 8 years of program that I've not been at Laquey, and I have I may send my staff text, how's it going, guys? They're like, it's fine. But regardless, hey, so I'm Stephanie. I'm from Laquey, Missouri. We're a super rural district. So we have pre-K through 12th grade, right about 675 students, which when you try to, think about it, that's not a big district. Our graduating class is like 40 kids at the max. So we're pretty unique because we're called unincorporated. So that means we have no surrounding town. Without a surrounding town, we don't get a lot of the support and funding. So we have to be really creative with some of the things that we do. We've run a summer program for every year that we've had after school. So we were a cohort 8 or a cohort 11. So this will be our 7th. What we tend to do, because we're so rural, is we try to group up our summer programs into themes per week. It tends to give the kids kind of that short time span. So one week will be all about technology. So we'll do things like spheros, Raspberry Pis. We'll do all kinds of stuff like that. I don't know, but I hope you can, because I was like, well, Anne, can you still hear me?
I can. Maybe I don't want to do this to you, but maybe try shutting off your video. If that would
Hold on. I don't care.
I'm not a techie
Can you
person.
hear me?
I'm a techie person. So, yeah, we can hear you.
I'll say, girl, I'll move wherever you need me to go.
I know.
We'll come up here. You'll just get to hear the background noise of my family. So it's fine too. Can you hear me now better?
Yeah, so far it's coming in pretty well.
So I'll be quiet when I do this. Hold on, Ian, 1 second. Okay, so my program that we'll typically run, and I'm so sorry, Anne, that like I'm out of the state. So what we'll do is we'll typically pick
Fine. Thank you.
one theme per week. So one of our weeks will be like all about technology, because your internet doesn't work in the office as well. So one of our themes will be technology. So we'll do Raspberry Pis, we'll do stop motion, which is essentially taking pictures and moving your pieces along and turning it into a video. And then we try to host a family night at the end of the week. And with the family night, we had our families come in and we'll play the different videos for them. So this way they can actually see what our students are doing. With doing something like that, we're also able to do stop motion with our parents. So we could have the parents come in and take the pictures and the videos with the students and try to do like a family style. We had the kiddos do like almost like an in-person, so they could do their own type of stop motion with their parents in there. Because we're in this like super rural district, we also try to get our kids outside. So we have an outdoor classroom. We worked with the Missouri Department of Conservation. So we would go outside and do a week of like beautifying our kiddos or beautifying our outdoor classroom. So we'll take them outside. We'll have them paint rocks. We'll have them do community service projects. We'll work with the wood shop class to have them kind of set some benches in place and then let the kids drill the benches in. Once they get it in, then they can take it to the outdoor classroom. And so it gives them a sense of like camaraderie and community and a sense of pride for their district. And it gets them inside and outside, because you guys know in Missouri it gets really hot. And so we can't always take them outside because once it's above a specific heat level, like once the heat index is above whatever, you can't go outside. Well, you know, in Missouri today, we've got potential tornado warnings. So like, obviously we can't go outside. You know, it's the same thing if you switch to the other side. So when it's too hot, we obviously can't go outside. So we try to give them projects they could do inside and outside. We always base our stuff around themes, so we can try to find a field trip at the end of our week to go on that correlates with what we've done. So we did a whole week on baseball. So we did a whole week on baseball. We studied about baseball. We studied about stuff. And then at the end of the week, we went to the Springfield Cardinals game. So we were able to take the kids down to the Springfield Cardinals game. They got to get, you know, hot dogs and sit there. And for some of our kids, they've never been to a baseball game. So they were just like, this is the greatest game ever. We have done, you know, things like we studied all about animals for a week. So we took them to learn about animals. They made animal books. So a lot of hands-on projects. At the end of the week, we took them to the wonders of wildlife, right? Things that our students wouldn't be able to attend typically, right? Rural district, they don't have a lot of funding. A lot of the families, you know, aren't able to travel down to Springfield. So we would take them down there as well. So we work in that capacity to try to find some type of a theme to go along with our field trips. So this way we can justify the funding. If not, we just take from some of our like registration fees and we use that to pay for some of our transportation and our like all of our field trips that we take our kiddos on. We've taken them to like the Tiger Sanctuary and stuff like that down in Branson. We try to find a way to keep our kids up and going. So every kid gets a class. Our program is long though. We run from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. So we have to jam pack a lot of breaks, fitness class, like there's a fitness class in every single day. We have a ton of breaks that are added in. They go to recess a couple of times. We run them on scavenger hunts. We typically don't offer a fee because if we do, our kids wouldn't be able to come. So that's kind of a difference for us. We can't, if we offer a fee, our numbers crash. If we don't offer a fee, we get a lot more kids. So we have decided that because we're a 21st century grant and we typically have funding for salaries at the end of the year, we don't require a fee. And then we're able to, we get, closer to 100 to 150 kids. And when you look at a smaller district like ours, 150 kids is a quarter of our district. So we really like that. Having more kids means we can pay the staff more. It's kind of like this positive snowball effect. So we've also taught our kids to do 3D printing in the summer. What we've found is in our summer programs, they're able to take more time on a project. Sometimes when they come to the after school enrichment program, they're with our enrichment class for an hour. Well, that's great. But when you have a 3D printed project, they're going to take longer than an hour. So the kids are able to start their project in the morning, go to their other classes, and then they check on their project at the end of the day. Then they can see if it actually goes well, if it doesn't go well, if something messed up, then they have to start over. It kind of gives them that really good like problem solving skills in their brain, which we have found to be really, really beneficial for our students. And then we'll kind of partner them together. So I will shoot over to Anne a list of like programs that we've done. I think this is the first year that we have not, our school has opted to do a summer school program this year. So this is the first year that we won't do a full day after school program. So we're going to have to figure out some different unique ways. We aren't always offered like a water place. We don't have a pool in the local area. So taking our students to do swimming, that's not even an option. So what we have found is we'll go down to like the neighboring city's park, and we'll try to get the kids at least off site once or twice. Our district doesn't offer transportation in the morning. So the kiddos have to come to school. We'll provide them a snack. If the district does the summer feeding program, we'll provide breakfast and lunch, and then the after school snack. But we have tried to figure out a way to make it work. And it's gone really well. I was trying to rack my brain of different programs we've done over the last couple years. And we've been able to partner with like our health department to do like an active kids program. So it gets our kids up and moving, and they get to, they've made it kind of a part of our 4-H. So they get to count their miles. We're doing, we do like 5Ks at the end of the 5 or 6 weeks. Like we find a way to get the kids up and going. And then we invite the families in to be a part of it with our students. But all in all, as long as you can keep your kids active and going, whether you're rural or an urban area, you can find resources. Our students really, really enjoy project-based learning. So like currently in our spring break program, everything they're doing, they're making. We have found that their attention span is so much better when they can be hands-on versus like having them sit and fill out papers or having them do that. So everything we do is hands-on, and our big push this year is Makerspace. So even in our summer program, we'll probably do Makerspace because that's truly like a STEAM. You can do anything with the Makerspace. So you could have them build benches. You could have them, make fairy gardens. You can have them do string art, right? String art's huge, and they have to measure, and they have to put all the pieces in. And they have to measure out how much string to have, wind chimes, you name it, they can make something. So that would be my thing is think outside the box if you can, because the kiddos at the end of the school year just want to have fun. So the more you can make it fun for them, the better. We did balloon launching one year where we would buy like the big like slingshots almost, and we tried to have the kids guesstimate and measure how far they were going to launch their balloons. And so at the end, we let them have a water balloon fight, but the ability to kind of go and see how far their balloons would launch, it was like a competition across all the ages. So finding a way to make it fun, not only for your kids, but also for your staff. In my experience, I ask my staff what they want to teach, and I give them kind of that encouragement to think of something outside of the box. That has played dividends for us. So if you have staff members that are kind of really uniquely like in tune, ask them what they would like to teach, because you probably would get a better response. That's all I got, Miss Ann.
find my mute button. Like, I'm all over. Well, Stephanie, did you say that this year you're not going to be able to do full day programming because the school's offering summer school? Okay. So typically, how long is your full day programming? Is it like 5 weeks, 4 weeks?
So we typically run 4 full weeks. What we'll do is we'll kind of look at what our funding is. So I start looking at the funding about this time, and we put out our signups in the middle of April. And so we do like April 10th through April 30th, they get to sign up for the summer program. And then we typically run a 4 to 5 week program. And we try to have enough staff that we could cut it in half and have half the staff come in the morning and half the staff come in the afternoon, because 10 and a half hour days are really long. But if we break it up, it's not a big deal. But yeah, it's typically 4 to 5 full weeks of programming.
And then your staff, are they there the whole day, or do you break them up in shifts?
No, so typically I try to break them up in shifts. So I'll have like a 6:45 to a 12:15 shift, and then I'll have an 11:45 to a 5:15 shift. This way there's at least a half hour overlap, so they can kind of communicate with each other what's been going on throughout the day. This way too, right? And we did this during the spring break program. We have our staff members prep all of our materials the night before. So as the students are getting picked up and we're sanitizing and cleaning our rooms, we prep all the materials for the next day. This way, when the morning shift comes in, it's not a scramble for what they need, because we have a breakdown layout. And I'll email this to you too, Anne, of what we're teaching for that week. So we'll do 1 week at a time, and then we'll get all of our materials and we'll prep that 1 week. And we truly make like a little mini lesson plan. Like Monday, you're going to do this, and these are the materials you're probably going to need. Tuesday, you're going to do this and this, because the staff members come, at different times. So we try to make sure that they have like everything they need.
And are your staff members mostly school district employees, or are they?
No.
Okay.
Nope. So Laquey is pretty unique. So we have a lot of our certified teachers. We always offer certified teachers the ability to come and teach. And 9 times out of 10, we'll get maybe 3 or 4, but a lot of them are like, I don't want to do that. So spring break, same thing with summer. But we've actually found to have a lot of success with out of district employees. Once they're hired, they work for the district, but they're not school day employees at all. And it's interesting because they bring in a unique perspective, and they're really able to pull into that mentor category with these students. A lot of students really struggle having a day school teacher because they don't always feel as comfortable having conversations with them. With our staff members, we've had a lot of success with them being, either a retired teacher or, a college student or something of that nature. Maybe we live right around a military installation. So a lot of times we get, military spouses that only want to work part-time. So they'll come in and work the afternoon, but they bring in a lot of unique ideas. And so we actually don't have as many district employees as maybe some of our other district programs do. But we have found incredible success with it not being a district employee.
Man, I did not know that. That's an interesting take, because I know during the school year, a lot of times district employees will stay in the after school program. So it's interesting to hear your perspective, since you are a school-based program operating a summer program, like a true full-day program. So.
And it's interesting too. So we do offer it, and we get a couple of our district employees that will stay as certified staff members in the after school program. But a lot of our teachers are like, we're tired and we don't want to do it. So if I only relied on my district employees, then we wouldn't be able to support and provide as many services as we can. So I reach out. I push out Laquey's after school program. We try to pay a little bit more because we're the grant funded. So we're able to offer just a little bit more to try to entice people to come in. Our board and our district have given us the grace of like, hey, you're able to offer a little bit more pay since it comes from your grant. But no, that's been one of the very unique things about Laquey is we're not massively district employee heavy.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. So that concludes our panel part of today. We would like to open it up to questions. I think, and Lena got a few questions submitted, I think, via email. So, but we can start with those. But please unmute yourself if you have a question. Do not be shy. We've had a virtual programming discussion. We've had urban, rural, and I don't know what you talk. Columbia, is it like suburban? So we have different types of programming. Try to get all different areas, and then unmute yourself. Put your question in the chat box. I mean, here's a chance to connect with some of your peers that are doing the same work as you and ask questions.
Some people have already kind of answered this question, but Naisha asks, how do you engage the parents over summer? And so I know some of you said that you have I think Stephanie mentioned a culminating event at the end of the week where the parents can come and see what their children have done that week. So if the panel wants to address that, and even people who are listening in, we'll welcome that, any responses that they have.
I know we engage parents by, we do our weekly community outings and we just invite them as chaperones. They just don't get to chaperone their own student. So we always partner them with a different group of students to give them time to, learn about some of the other students in the program because they're with their kids all the time. And so we have, a huge response because it's having fun, going to the zoo, hanging out, and things like that.
We really tried to do with ours is like, I know with stop motion, we talked about taking the little videos, but even any way that you can engage your families to do project or games with your kids. So one of the things we did was have like a board games day, like where the kids, or like a week where the kids actually made their own board games. They had to make the rules, they had to make their pieces, they had to make their boards. Well, then we invited the families to come in and to play these games with their kids. So the kids got to tell the parents like, hey, I made this board game and I made all these things. And then we took the big like cafeteria tables and we set them all up. And then the parents got to come in and actually see it. And then they got to participate and play these games. And so that was so cool because these kids, like their pride was like, wow. And we had to tell them, like your kids are doing math, they're doing art, they're engineering their own board game, and so that's been really helpful too, even if it's like a 10-minute window. So we have like, there's sometimes like we can't ask our parents for a lot of their time. They're just, some of them are either not willing or they're unable to. So we try to do some of these, especially in the summertime when we're doing a whole lot of projects, we try to give them like 10-minute snapshots. If we can get you to engage with your kids for 10 minutes, I'll take that 10-minute window. And that's been really helpful too. Like give the kids a project to do where they get to showcase it to their parents, and give the kids and the parents a project to do together.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. I know some camps sometimes, similar to what you're saying, is have like maybe even an award ceremony for kids who maybe achieved over the course of the camp, whether it's the multi-week or just a few days, that kind of thing. So parents kind of on pickup, they can come and engage in the activities that the kids have learned about as well. Anybody else have thoughts for family engagement? I know at the beginning we talked about incorporating water play. And I mean, even when we said what we really enjoyed about summertime, so many of us said that we like the water. And Stephanie talked about the water balloons. And, I know if you go to the Science Center, there's probably some, water tables that kids can play with. It's just, the weather's warm and you can, it's not a bad thing to get wet. So any ideas, other ideas that people have done about that, like beyond swimming or going to the water park or that kind of thing.
Lena, you remember the water rockets?
Yeah. Yep.
Water rockets are a lot of fun.
Yep.
Another thing that we've done with our kids during the summertime to get them out is we get those individual like potting plants and potting soil, and they go outside and they get to, plant the little seeds, and then we take them out, for them to water it daily and check on them each, day and things like that. So that's another thing that we use to get them outside, because then they have something to actually like go for, like, to care for their plants.
I'm real big on taking typically indoor activities and moving them outdoors as well. You can read, you can do art, you can do musical instruments are a great one because a lot of people don't like to bring those out inside anyway. So even the typical things. One of my favorite activities has been to do Rube Goldberg machines, like Build a Better Mousetrap kind of stuff. And you could do that large scale on a playground or in a field or whatever too. So that's a fun thing to do outside as well.
All right. I dropped it in the chat box a little sooner than I wanted, is the list of the resources that, and it's got the screen, but then I dropped the PDF in there too. So that's something that you can have and, download from the chat box. And then Kayce has shared her tips for the virtual programming, and I'm going to drop that in the box right now too.
Hey, Lena.
Yes.
I'm going to try to start in the chat pack group on Facebook, a little conversation about summer programming and see if we can't get more ideas from people about it. So I'll start listing out some of the ideas and stuff that we've done at Laquey, and then see if people want to add in their own little ideas, because I really like a bunch of Shawntell's ideas and some of the things I haven't thought about, which would be really cool. And I may have to, figure it out on our part, but I think anytime we can collaborate with one another and just share ideas, that's super great. So I'll talk to Erica about putting ideas in the chat pack and see if we can't get them out to everybody else.
All right. Thanks a lot, Stephanie. So one thing, we've talked about the theme camps and also known as project-based learning, and you can infuse so many educational things around a theme. I dropped in the chat box that pirate camp was my favorite that we did back in the day. However, I realized through our planning that really pirates were criminals. And so that was kind of a challenging thing. So we even talked about, that kind of stuff, even though they were kind of a fun character and that kind of thing, that, we talked about their code and how they came about and that kind of thing. So even a bit of a history lesson around that, but it was tons of fun. The kids loved it. And we learned about nutrition and problem solving and obviously water and all kinds of things like that. So it was a lot of fun to do that. Any other thoughts about project-based learning? A few people dropped it in the chat box, the things that they like for theme camps. So just share some ideas. So if you unmute yourself if you want to let us know.
Or if you're planning your summer program and you're having difficulty navigating something, this is a place to ask. It's really a networking time. We have, I miss the networking time, that those organic conversations that happen at PD events, conferences, that just happen at the table or in the hallway in between sessions, where that's, to me, when I attend those events, that's where I get a lot of information and make connections. So if you're struggling with something, you're trying to even just figure out how to go swimming or figure out how to use the space in the building, this is the time to ask. Also, we put all the panels email on their slide. So hopefully you can connect with them. They are all happy to answer questions. And can you see
I just put a link in the chat to Curiosity Machine. So we're a really heavy STEM focused program. If you all notice, we have the Science Center Bricks for Kids, which is robotics. We had 4 first robotics teams before they competed in competitions. And I put a link in there, especially in the virtual world we're in now, where you do these virtual design challenges, which is, teaches them engineering skills. So that's another great option, especially if you all are still going to remain virtual.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see the need for summer programming across the country this year, because first thing, parents are ready to get their kids out of the house. If they've been doing virtual learning or hybrid learning, they're ready for that normalcy. Kids are itching for it, parents are itching for it. We as staff and youth development professionals are itching for it. So we really hope that everybody has successful summer programs, and we really just want to support you because we're all in this together. We're all just trying to help families and reach kids. I do want to make sure, are you guys seeing my screen? Because my one screen went I have 2 screens here, and one of them went dark. It's just dark. It just shut down. And so I had to quickly share. So I just want to make sure you can see the resource slide. Are you all looking at that? Okay. Is there anybody else would like to share?
I'm interested about, I know some of the programming is fee-based. And so just kind of I know some programs are grant supported, but if you're a fee-based program, like typically how do you charge for that? I know we have a lot of 4-H people on today, and then day camps are going to be the norm today, and just kind of an idea of what they would be charging families to participate. Okay, Vanessa says $27 a day. Thank you. I know when I had camps, parents would say, I can't afford to keep them home for that price. So it was a real bargain for kids to go. This was residential camp though. So, all right. Well, we want to, one of the resource that I just dropped in, this is from the Entrepreneurship micro grants, and this could be like maybe a good project-based learning opportunity. So that link is there where you might want to investigate that and see if you would want to apply for programs to support your camp. And that's from Mark Calsert and Steve Hennis, who are working on that particular project. So let's see. I think that's all the things we needed to cover. And Beth dropped in that if after school programs want to connect with 4-H professionals, she has a Qualtrics survey listed there as well.
And I put that in the resource slide. So yeah. And hopefully some of you have seen the Peace, Love After School logo. I thought this kind of went with it. So peace, love, and luck. So I think I made our next Mason mask right here. So.
But just one quick takeaway, just drop in the chat box, just one thing that you're going to investigate further, or something you might change, or just some takeaway from today. And mine would be family engagement. I'll start. We did record the session, and so this will be posted later if you want to review the materials. And I've had several people email and ask about the recording, and it will be posted on the Missouri AfterSchool Network YouTube virtual professional development pages. So we'll get that link out to you as soon as we get it posted. So lots of family engagement, STEM, good deal.
My takeaway was a lot of you all mentioned the long-term projects. Like, this is the opportunity to take on long-term projects that kids can work on over a week or a couple weeks. Because you're right, in the typical after school, or even just if you're just doing a single 1-week day camp or 1-day day camp or something, like, it's hard to do those long-term projects. So when you have a program that's operating for a couple of weeks, you could, and kids, they take ownership and they really invest their time and energy, and then they're very proud of the outcome of the project.
Well, big thank you to our panelists today, Amy Gaffney, Kayce Amsden, Shawntelle Fisher, and Stephanie Valdivia in California. And so we're glad she took time out today to join us. So big thank you to all of them, and just reach out to the After School Network if there's anything that we can help you out. And we look forward to seeing you again on other professional development that we have.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the panel.
Thank you. Enjoy, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, Shawntelle. We'll connect soon.
Yes, ma'am.